Alrighty, so we've got the walls sanded and everything's tarped off in the middle of the room. So now we're going to spread our drop cloths around the outside perimeter of the room right up against the baseboard. We also want to make sure that we cover up any remaining carpet that isn't covered by our plastic that's covering the furniture in the middle of the room. We get pretty standard drop cloths, nothing too crazy. These are just 8-ounce or 10-ounce drop cloths from Sherwin-Williams, and we'll link to where you guys can get them. And so these are 4x12, and we just spread them, the length of the room, and just make sure we cover everything. And once we have everything dropped off, we're going to show you guys how to caulk, how to wood putty, and how to spackle. So let's get to it.
This is a highly complex task, requiring engineers whose abilities cover many disciplines.
All right, now we're going to fill some holes you'll find in the trim. First, you can see we have the holes here.
All right, so these are the holes we got here, here, and I guess another one like right there. They're just like, right, typical nail holes you find in trim. So Josh is going to use wood putty to fill those.
And so what I'll do first is, you can see there's like their little raised edges, so it's nice to get those edges down so when you actually fill the holes that it'll be smooth for when you paint it. So there you go, so they're nice and smooth. And then what I'll do is you take this lovely wood putty right here and you just smear it in there with your finger. You just want to make sure you fill the whole thing. And then you'll do this one. And it doesn't take too long to dry unless you're filling a massive hole. And so I'll fill these last two as well. And what's great about this stuff is like once you, it dries pretty quickly and then you sand it, and honestly, I will let it dry, and we'll pretend it's dry enough, and we'll sand it because it's honestly, it'll be fine. So sand that, sand that, sand that, sand that, and then when you feel it, it is nice and smooth, and you're ready to paint. Yeah, typically we would wood putty all the holes around, give it about 30 minutes, it'll dry, and then sand it, and then you're good to go. Now we're going to caulk in any cracks we see in the trim or in the baseboards, windowsills, or even in the walls. So if we'll see, we have a crack kind of going along right here. It might be tough to see, and then it kind of flies up here as well. So first you get your trusty dusty caulk. So we get our caulk here, and this is a brand new tube, and we like the Power Max from Sherwin-Williams, red. That's how we do get the red stuff. We take the top, you want to cut it at a 45-degree angle, and not too big, but not too small. So I just kind of take a regular knife and just cut it like that. And I think that should be good enough. But then we have to poke it because down here is where it's actually sealed. So next, we get our caulk gun. This is a dripless caulk gun from Sherwin-Williams, one of our favorites. And what it does is there is a poker. Yep. Poker's right here. I've done this a couple times. All right, so we got our thing right here. And so what you do is you take this, and you just make sure down the hole, and this is where you can see if the hole is actually big enough or not. I like having a small hole at the end because it makes it just a little easier, and not as much stuff, not much caulk will come out. So if I actually cut this right, there you go. Now you go a couple times, and then you'll see there's caulk will actually get on here, and then you know you've punctured the seal. So you'll wipe that off with a paper towel. You can take a paper towel, put it on your person or wherever you want. Put this back. You want to make sure you pull this back all the way so you can get the caulk tube in. Put the caulk tube like here. You push this forward. All right, now you're good to go. So what I like to do is you find the crack. We're going to go down here, and then we'll do this section right here. And so what I like to do is you get here, and you're kind of at this angle. And I'm a lefty, so I kind of come from this side, but you can come from the other side as well. And you don't want to put too much on, but you want to make sure enough so you would actually cover it all. And then I like to use my hand or fingers. I don't like to use a rag because it's just easier. And then I'm just trying to feather it in so it just blends in really nicely with the wall and the trim. So when this dries, you're not going to see this crack at all, and you won't even know there ever was a crack there. So we did that, and now it looks nice and smooth. We're going to do the same here, this crack right here. The baseboard going into the side molding there. And you can always put more caulk. Sometimes it's tougher when you just gunk it up with too much, and then it doesn't go well. So we'll just take my other finger, this, and so that's nice and smooth. Now we'll do this section right here. And so I'll just start work my way down. You can see I got a little too much caulk down there, but that's all right. We just kind of take your finger, whatever your favorite finger is to remove caulk, and there you go. So that'll dry real nicely, and it takes, you know, an hour, maybe 2 hours if you want, and it should be dry, and you're good to paint. All right, if you're in the room and there are cracks in the corners, like here or up here where the ceiling meets the wall or there, you just caulk it, just like you do in the trim to make it smooth. This one is fine, but I'm just gonna show you just in case the room you're working on, it is cracked. So this is exactly how I would repair it. You start in the top, work your way down. You can do this guy, then you do this one, and then you just take your finger, go make sure it's nice and smooth, and then when you look at it, make sure the crack is completely filled in, and you're all good, and you'll have a nice smooth looking corner.
Amazing!